Over the last 3 years, I've spent millions of dollars on a protocol to slow my speed of aging.
Millions of dollars. And he's about the same age as me, looking good for his age, so some things that he's doing are certainly working.
That was so much easier than I thought. I was expecting a lot more pain.
It's like a bad day.
You're not alone, Brian. A lot of people think that.
Brian is taking extraordinary efforts to help me.
How was your general health prior to Brian swooping in with all these interventions?
It was
Tell you right now, I would have told you right now it's not good.
Even reverse the damage that's taken place. My team and I are constantly searching for groundbreaking new therapies, which is why I'm flying to a resort in the Bahamas owned by Tiger Woods and Justin Timberlake, where I'll be injected in all 6 of my major joints with 300 million stem cells.
All 6? That's it?
From young Swedish bone marrow.
Dude, if you want to be young, do your spine.
With the aim to give me superhero joints, increased athletic performance, and eliminate all my aches and pains.
You're going to need a lot more than 300 million.
Will be a step closer to my goal of extending human lifespan. Down, 20 minutes late. Well, which I said I would be 20 minutes late. Okay, we're on time. We're on our way to the Bahamas. My dad is boarding a plane right now in Salt Lake City. We have people coming from all over the world. My father is...
Brian, I don't know where you live, but I'm a guest California. But your dad's in Salt Lake City. Y'all could have met in Scottsdale, Arizona and got the same thing.
My father is getting 100 million mesenchymal stem cells injected into his vein. So it's going to be throughout the body. And then I'm getting 300 million mesenchymal stem cells put into my body in each joint. Stem cells are the body's repair system. Those healthy young Swedish cells should multiply in my body, future-proofing all of my major joints and taking me one step closer to age 18.
Age 18, that's a big goal. On a technical note, I know you're saying stem cells, but what you're getting is not stem cells. Maybe we'll link some of my recent video explaining why these MSCs are not stem cells, purely based off of Dr. Arnold Kaplan's work, the father of mesenchymal stem cells. He named them mesenchymal stem cells, later on changed the name to medicinal signaling cells.
You guys walk all the way from LA or what? Come this way.
I love the family adventure of this, but it also... It irks me a little bit because I've fought so long to have more accessibility here in the US. And there is a pretty good, it's just gray areas. It's just not as open as other places overseas where it's much more welcoming and inviting. I love this, it looks fun, but that's also the appeal where a lot of overseas places like this, I hate to sound bad or negative, because you go there, it's a good adventure, it's positive. You want to have a positive mindset. You want healing to happen. But a lot of this is like the appeal that these clinics do is like, oh, look at the lap of luxury. Look, come over here and we'll pick you up from the airport and we'll provide you meal. We'll put you up in a hotel and all this. And then some of them are really good about it. Some of them, it doesn't make any sense. Like you're still paying way too much for the actual medical procedures. And I know it's a business model and all that, and they're just kind of lumping in like, we'll give you this nice room, we'll pick you up from the airport, we'll give you all this. It's like, all right, well, that stuff could probably cost me like an extra $2,000. Why am I spending like $15,000 more for that?
Brian is taking extraordinary efforts to help me.
How was your general health prior to Brian swooping in with all these interventions?
It was
Tell you
terrible.
right now, it's
not.
I would have told you right now it's not good.
But, we've all been there, right? Well, I had a lot of that. But the most terrible thing is my mind. That's the one thing that I just can't see me living without, the ability to do what I do. I'm in the legal biz. I was writing a complex paper, wrote about a half a page, and then looked at it, as I usually do, and it was gibberish. I'd actually manufactured a half a page of type gibberish. And frankly, I think my panic alarm to Brian that, look, what have you got? He swooped in.
Okay, let's do it, guys. We're off to the clinic to get the stem cells. Dad into the vein, myself into the joint.
Brian, if you're watching this, I don't know what they did. I haven't watched any what they did there yet, but your dad needs intranasal an application. They can do it with something called a sphenocath, very targeted to the back of this area called the sphenopalatine ganglion, a collection of nerves and blood cells, vessels in the back of your sinuses. But I would do a lot of intranasal for your dad.
All right, the problem is if we're late, the stem cells are going to be, so because once the stem cells leave the lab, they've got 2 hours of time, and then they start to deteriorate very quickly.
Usually places will not prepare the cells until you are there and in the room. We wouldn't. You don't bank it on the people showing up because stuff happens, car accidents,
My name's Dr. Steve Sampson. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm a board-certified physician in physical medicine and rehabilitation. My specialty is in non-surgical orthopedics and sports medicine.
If cellular therapies continue to increase the way they are, you're going to see a lot higher demand for this, like Dr. Sampson's position. Surgeries are going to go way down. You won't need orthopedic surgeons as much. You're going to get a lot more training in injection specialties.
And so I think more specifically the things we can address today that are more practical is I do have some discomfort in my right shoulder. I grew up playing a lot of sports, baseball, I use my arm a lot. And I think over time it's just slowly worn out. And so lately I've been experiencing weakness in my shoulder where if I do a bench press or a push-up or even some movements, I'll feel weakness in my shoulder. Otherwise, my joints are, I don't feel any pain. However, in looking at the imaging, there is meaningful deterioration in my joints. So I'm hoping to address both the discomfort in the shoulder and also rejuvenate what has been lost with wear and tear of my joints.
Okay, I think what's unique is if we were to take an MRI on anybody who's, say, 40 years of age, we're going to see some signs of active lifestyle and wear and tear. And the question is, do those correlate with day-to-day discomfort? And in medicine standard in the United States, it's, well, we treat as injuries come, right? So, hey, my shoulder hurts, so we're going to treat it. And perhaps a new way of approaching this in the future is more from a disease perspective.
That's very important. I love what he said, Dr. Sampson said. Don't get too caught up on imaging either. A lot of patients have come to us over the years and said, here's my imaging. I want you to inject where my, all these injured sites they specifically are. And it's like, yes, it's a great and amazing tool that we have that ability to be able to see stuff like that. But you could have an MRI of somebody in no pain and you could give that to a radiologist blindly and he could be like, oh yeah, there's disc herniation here. You've got facet joint degeneration or rotator cuff tears or wherever the MRI is. And you could have somebody in super significant pain, give that MRI and have a blinded radiologist be like, it looks like I see a little bit of inflammation and degeneration or something here, but no real big cause for alarm that I can see.
The cells have traveled 5,000 miles from Sweden to the Bahamas, kept in cryotanks filled with liquid nitrogen. Now they're being thawed and are just 30 minutes away from the clinic. Once they arrive, we'll have a limited window of opportunity to inject them into my body before they expire.
I love the suspense. Comes all the way from, did he say Switzerland? And do they not have umbilical cords there that they could harvest fresh cells from?
All right, Brian, so right now we're just prepping the area to keep it clean and sterile. I'll walk you through every step. The goal is for this to be as comfortable as possible.
I haven't seen anything lately. I spent some time periodically just searching for it. But I'd love to see if there is anything published out there yet where you take cell, no offense to this place. I think it was called Cell Collab, and you have these cells where you're flying them from Switzerland or something, something to an island in Nassau, or you got a place like Panama, they term cells golden cells and stuff like that. Is there anything any kind of analysis that shows these cells are necessarily better than a good old standard Wharton's jelly derived MSC. If you know, post in a comment or something. I can't find it. It'd be really good to know. Because if you're gonna, go through all these trouble flying it across the country and having a 2-hour expiration date and making claims like we have the best cells in the world, to me, like I've said, it's like saying that you have the world's best cup of coffee. Like, unless you can measure it or something and prove it and show it, then you're just saying. It's just a bunch of talk.
And watch that little area and see if it drains. See it kind of shrink. See the fluid kind of coming up on the screen.
Got a little bit of fluid. I have drained up to 90 cc's out of somebody's knee. He is using, what is that, like a little 5 cc? So I would have filled
imbalance, like that yin yang symbol, where there's too much breakdown and not enough repair.
Use my calculator.
Give me feedback. It's the first time I've ever done an injection.
18 of those vials.
Just looked it up.
18 of those syringes. I would have figured.
That's entirely.
So he had a little bit.
This is really.
It's good time to do. It's a good time to do that.
You see that?
Oh man. That's all.
So if you were to look at it in a microscope, there'd be an imbalance of inflammatory proteins in there. And so what we're really trying to do is reprogram. So we do things in the US like PRP bone marrow. We're trying to shift the body to an anti-inflammatory state.
So this is one of the complexities of traveling overseas, because sometimes that can even happen after the injection. Sometimes it can happen before, and you want to get rid of all that fluid and you want to get the inflammation down before putting the most expensive part, MSCs, into it. So now he can't wait. He has to draw that fluid out. He has to have the injection done right away. And I've done both. I've done where you immediately draw the fluid out and you just put cells in right away. Or what you do is you have the person come, you drain that, you have them go back home, you have them rest, and you wait until you know that knee isn't going to have a lot of a collection of fluid like that again. Then you go back and you put cells in. But they can't do that here.
Okay. Thank you. And we're studying these mesenchymal stem cells that have been called medicinal signaling cells. They're almost like mobile paramedics. And so if you think of our body as made of 37 trillion cells approximately, just coursing
He's in the
through our
know.
body.
Good for him.
And when we have an injury, like if I were to get off this chair and bang my knee, that would trigger an injury response where these mobile cells, they're called pericytes, and they release and they travel to the area of injury. And so we're trying to mimic that response. And what we found is that in the published literature, these MSCs have the ability to significantly tamper or lower inflammation.
Good. So I don't have to go on a whole tangent. He summarized it really nicely.
Of the solution, which is tiny, and he has to balance getting that liquid exactly where it needs to go, with working quickly so the stem cells don't expire before entering my body.
You've got plenty of time.
So see the flow of the cells, Brian? It confirms an accurate placement.
That was so much easier than I thought. I was expecting a lot more pain.
It's like a bad date. You keep the
You're not alone, Brian. A lot of people think that.
That was, I think, simpler than any procedure I've done.
But Brian here doesn't have a lot of problems, like somebody with severe osteoarthritis, a lot of inflammation and degeneration in that area, and that can make the area much more sensitive and tender. And so when you do an injection, sometimes it can be a lot painful, but what you'll see is, as if you are undergoing a series, which you should, if you're undergoing a series, just like Brian here he should be doing this, especially if he's all in for going 18. This is not going to be a one-time ordeal for him. It'll get better and better each time. Like my little daughter, like my little girl says with the boo-boo, it's going to get better and better. It will get better and better. Every time you come in, the patient the ones that are sensitive, say, oh my God, I don't want to go through this again. It was so painful. It hurt so bad the last time. And it's okay. It'll be okay. That's usually the case. And they'll kind of react how Brian did there. Like, oh man, that was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
So both knees are done, and now we just do the right hip. Okay? You need a break for a couple minutes?
I want to go try dunking.
Not advised. Yeah, correct. So we can check. Your knee has what's called a bursa, called the super.
Good. That's awesome. I love that they're showing him do. I don't know if he did that or they told him to do those that flexion and extension.
Yeah, you can see the MSCs. Do you see the speckly fluid?
Yeah.
That's the fluid, so you can actually see the cells. Just a way to confirm the injection is accurately placed.
Unless I would, Dr. Sampson, respectfully, I would try to spread those out a little more, instead of only doing one spot. But if he's generally healthy, just putting them in the knee and they'll diffuse themselves.
This would be the point to turn away from the television set.
Let's see it.
I warned you. Usually in my practice, I will conceal this. So the patient, I'll be talking and they won't see it, but you will feel a little pressure because again, I don't put numbing down into the joint.
Yep.
You just sharpen you up, just try to relax. Yeah, just do your best. I know there's a needle in you to try to keep still. Hips more sensitive.
I noticed that each injection, Dr. Sampson has done a little bit of an anesthetic. And if you're in this world long enough, you'll hear somebody eventually say that they don't want any lidocaine, they don't get Policaine, or don't get anything of an anesthetic because it kills the stem cells. In a lab type setting, yeah. In the body, it's a lot harder to measure that. But so what you can do, just to be a little bit safe, is the doc will inject an anesthetic, but not at the exact location in where he's going to the joint. So intra-articular, he probably won't go as far down and inject the anesthetic into the hip joint itself. He'll inject it a little superficially and a little bit as he's going down, and then he'll inject some as he pulls back out. And then that way you don't have the cells and the anesthetic in the same place. So if you ever get this procedure done, you can verify with with the doctor doing it. Hey, if you're going to use anesthetic, or I'd like anesthetic, but just don't put it where the stem cells are going to be.
One more injection, and we have 28 minutes left before the cells expire.
Oh, they're going to do a lateral. Okay, good.
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
We're done.
Thanks.
You feeling any significant discomfort right now?
Look at Dad rubbing it
Feeling any
in.
major pain, or?
No. I know that there was a lot of effort that went into this.
Are they doing his shoulders? They didn't do his shoulders?
A ton, so it was very smooth.
Maybe later. We
Thank
still
you,
got it.
everyone.
So Bryan, next we're going to do an ultrasound of both of your shoulders.
There we go.
Gives us a little more real-time look at your tendons, so that tomorrow we can be dialed in and have a game plan ready to go, because it will be a little tighter on the clock because each shoulder will be injecting probably 3 spots.
Oh, I like that they're dividing up the treatment days, because it's a lot of body. It's a lot on the body, not only to do the procedures, but you just don't want there's that much division of where the body is focusing its energy. And so I like that they divided up the knees and the hips, and then the next day they're going to do shoulders. We end up doing that a lot as well, almost insisting.
So you want to take it easy for 2 to 3 days. You can bear weight as tolerated, but I don't want you exercising for a few days.
That's a tough one too. It's a tough mix of people that, like Bryan, that are really healthy, they're on their regimen, or even pro athletes. I know I got into a big argument with one pro athlete after I had done his elbow, and I said, "All right, man, just take it easy for the next couple of weeks." It's like, no, spring training's coming up. I was like, "No, what do you mean? You're gonna go out and go full velo, like as hard as you can in the next couple of days?" He's like, "I got to get ready." And I was like, "Oh man, you're killing me." And it was a tough recovery for him, but it's hard. Try to just plan, just rest.
So my dad's getting 100 million bone-derived mesenchymal stem cells injected in the vein. So this is called a systematic.
Bryan,
Where when you put it in the
umbilical
vein,
cord is the way to go, my friend.
And what we were doing with mine is we were injecting the cells directly into the joint, so it's more concentrated. Not to say that they can't
migrate elsewhere, but the majority of the
They
cells
won't.
do stick in the locale.
Yeah, what's the best outcome?
Very little.
AKA, what's the hope?
Optimum outcome.
Their secretions will probably might diffuse into the bloodstream, but localized in a joint, you're probably gonna get very little cells. In an avascular area, there's not gonna be a lot of area for cells to travel out of there.
Try not to do joints. Buckle up, bitches.
No, go take it easy. Stop it. A little bit of walking, a little bit of movement is really good.
In the evening, I made my first mistake. I went out to give a talk and socialize, and by the end of the day, I was feeling pretty rough. Hey,
What's going on?
finished up the day. We're going to get the second mesenchymal stem cells injected. Yesterday was both knees and the right hip. Today is the left hip and both shoulders. So this is Project Keep Dad Alive. How are we doing, Dad?
Hey, it's feeling good on all kinds of levels. One is I get time with him. Two is he's keeping the old man alive, and we get to share that he's taking care of me crap. It's really personal. It's deep.
Yeah. So kids at home, take care of your parents.
Yes,
Please. They took care of you when you were a baby. So when
Amen.
they're returning to a similar state, Dad, you weren't a diaper yet?
I'm not saying.
Amen. I'm a huge fan of that statement. So this is why another reason why I'm such a huge advocate of umbilical cords. And I was explaining this to a friend the other day, how you have this circle of life thing where you have a child, a family has a child, and then you're raising it, and then you have parents and grandparents, and then you have this cord, this wonderful cord that you get from this miraculous process. And it's abundant with these MSCs that we can use to now treat grandma, grandpa, ideally grandma, grandpa, and mom and dad. And then guess what? You've got another cord, maybe from the same family. You have siblings. Now you have multiple cords. And then guess what? That kid grows up. They have cord. Now mom and dad, maybe still grandma, great grandma, grandma are still getting treated. And you've got this beautiful circle of life. That's why I'm so obsessed with umbilical cord. We could really do something amazing with it. Let's see where they get. Still give them a little anesthetic.
Not too bad. Do you want to see the big needle though? Show them the big needle.
We use local numbing first, so the patients typically won't feel this, but
That's not true, you feel it. You feel it.
most of my patients prefer not to look at their procedure. Bryan, again, is atypical and wants to see everything.
We have one final injection left. This is the most complicated one. It's where I have tenderness in my right shoulder. 30 minutes before the cells expire.
Save the best for last. You're not helping me.
Oh.
So I'm using the ultrasound image guidance as you
Do an
can see.
anterior
It's
approach, huh?
Precise.
Oh, look at dad.
And the procedure is complete. Okay, you did amazing.
Man, for anti-aging, there's, I think,
When I started
so
doing
much more
this,
he
we
could-
didn't
he
realize
could have
how
done.
most uncomfortable or unpleasant. We'd start early and the patient.
What we're trying to show here is, can you actually rejuvenate the joints to
Yeah.
a more
Got to remember, these medicinal signaling cells, that is what they do. That's what they are programmed to do, is read that environment, and then they produce their medicine, essentially.
My goal in doing this is to do the experiment for you. If it works, to then scale it and make it low cost and accessible for you. I'm happy to be here with my dad. This is also Project Don't Die Dad, and we're doing well. So this is his third therapy. First we did plasma, second we did the gene therapy, and this is the third, the mesenchymal stem cells. He got 100 million yesterday. So dad is getting access to the best therapies in the world. So kids, again, a reminder to take care of your parents. They took care of you.
Amen.
When you were, not able to take care of yourself. So it's a nice thing to do, to be mindful of others and their needs. So hopefully you can continue to follow along, and let's do this together.
Okay, that was pretty cool. Yeah, interesting, fun video. When it comes to what his goal is in helping his dad, he's a little bit off when he was saying, no one's ever done this before. There's been a lot of these, Bryan, but it's not very commonplace known, but this is really, really common. You're gonna have to do it a lot. There's a bit of a misconception well, there's a lot of misconceptions with stem cells in general. And one of them is that there's this notion that when we put these cells in our body, that's it. You know, we put them in, I get an IV and then, wow, you know, I'm going to anti-age. If it was that easy, it'd be great. It just doesn't work like that. If you want Superman 18-year-old joints, you're going to do this frequently. Frequently for like probably the first year or two. And then you could probably titrate to like biannually, like 2 times a year or something like that. If you could measure the cartilage and compare that to you know, what you see on an average 18-year-old. But same thing, IV, you know, it looks like he's had some work done on his face, skin and stuff like that. You know, this stuff, it has to be applied frequently because these aren't stem cells, right? You're not replacing tissue with these cells. These cells are signaling your current ones. So you have to have them go in, do their signaling. They're eventually, you know, especially if you do an IV, they're eventually gonna die. They're gonna get phagocyzed up. They're gonna get used up. IM intramuscular, we don't track. How do you track how long they are? There might have been some staining that's been done. They're probably going to end up differentiating or something. But when they're communicating to the cells and doing everything, they're not just sitting around doing that for the rest of your life. You're still aging, especially if how much stress you're putting on your body. That's making it probably go a little faster. So you're going to have this done again and again and again and again. And I think that's one of the big points with this when it comes to us thinking like Bryan, that we're going to anti-age and I'm going to live forever. These cells are going to play a huge role in that. They're going to change medicine. They're going to change the way, and they already are changing it. They're going to change the way we think about how we age, but it's got to be done appropriately and right. And so far, it seems to be that people kind of treat this almost like, well, if you get this cell, these stem cells, like I won't really age, right? If I just get them once. And it's not the case. I'd be curious what Bryan is thinking and doing. Is he going to go back? Bryan, I think you should come to Scottsdale. Are you planning on going back and having this done frequently? That would make for a much better research study. If I was working with you, that's how you need to do it. So great fun video. I'm excited to do more like these. Put a comment if you have a fun video for me to react to and review, leave it in the comment section. Like this video, please, and subscribe to our channel so we can bring you more great educational content when it comes to anti-aging and longevity. Again, I'm Dr. Travis Whitney, and we'll see you in the next video.